How many of the ministers then were indicted under Obasanjo? How many? We had great technocrats. Frank Nweke Jr., Ojo Madueke, Obieze Kwesili. Look at the names. Men of impeccable character. They all did well. How many ministers now? Even this Air Rufai, he did well as FCT minister. Atiku, who was handling privatization, he did well. Don't mind what politicians are saying. He sold government parastatals to his friend. It's not true. We know better. They all did well. It was a performing government. The government of Obasanjo. Visionary. So it is not true that corruption flourished under Obasanjo. No. The power reforms, a lot happened. And what he expected Yaradua to build upon when he was leaving, that one abandoned it. So at the end of the day, PDP could not change the power situation. Has the power situation improved now? Even after so many increases of tariffs, it has not really improved. It's not better off. We expect the former president to show some decorum, particularly at his age. Elders are expected to advise not to agitate. That's not true. Elders can scold. They don't just advise, they will scold you. Okay? If possible, use cane to wire you. If he has nothing constructive to say, Obasanjo have been saying a lot of constructive things. And I enjoy listening to him. He doesn't come out to please anybody. To him, it is either you are doing well or you are not. He also accused the years of Obasanjo as years of political arrogance. Yes, Obasanjo showed some level of arrogance, some level of stubbornness. For instance, in the case of the seized Lagos State allocation, the way I see it was that stubbornness jammed stubbornness. Tinubu was stubborn, Obasanjo was stubborn. So they taught each other some stubbornness. What happened? Many states were agitating for the creation of local government. Tinubu said he needed to create more local governments in Lagos State, which some of us agreed that Lagos State was due for more creation of a local government. Because the argument then was that the population of Lagos State is bigger than Kano. Why should Kano have 50-something local government and Lagos State has 20-something? The agitations were coming. Obasanjo said, no, nobody should create local government. Because if you create, the other people will want to create to form a balance. So it will become a vicious circle. I think that made sense. But Tinubu refused and went ahead and he created a local government. It became a case of, if you are stubborn, I will teach you stubbornness. So stubbornness jam stubbornness. Was Obasanjo right to seize the funds of Lagos State? No, he was not right. So that was one of his own negative things he did. But overall, Obasanjo was a visionary president. One thing I can never forget about Obasanjo is how he single-handedly wrote off our debt. In this press briefing, the APC spokesperson made mention of debt forgiveness. The truth is that Obasanjo ensured that all the debts, the major debts, with the World Bank, with the Paris Club, and the IMF were written off. It's not this type of aimless traveling that our president has been doing. Obasanjo's travelings were purposeful. Nigerians were not comfortable with him when he was traveling from one country to the other and begging these international organizations to write off our debts. Nigerians were saying, Baba, sit down and govern. But he knew what he was doing. He continued. He made Nigerians proud when these three creditors agreed to write off our debts. And that also affected the writing off of the debts of smaller countries like Cameroon and Ghana and co. Because of what Obasanjo did for Nigeria. Okay, the debts of other African countries were also written off. Where are we now? It was Goodluck Jonathan that started borrowing. When Buhari came to power, he raised it to GF4 of borrowing. And Tinubu has continued. They have borrowed trillions, hundreds of trillions. Buhari borrowed, Tinubu borrowed. Obasanjo did not borrow a dime. So if anybody says Obasanjo borrowed in the guise of writing off debt, but we are acquiring debt, which debt did Obasanjo acquire? Nobody has been able to do that since. Nobody. I'm using GSM now. Before Obasanjo, we thought it was impossible. He felt we need a world-class stadium, and he built it in Abuja. Obasanjo is often lambasted for seeking for third term. They say third term would have created crisis. I keep telling people, did Obasanjo get the third term bid? He did the normal thing. He wanted it in the National Assembly the right way. The National Assembly refused. So what is the big deal? When they refused to grant him, didn't he step down? He stepped it down. His policies have not matured, and he felt, if only I could have a third term, if only I could have one more chance, I will make electricity work. Even Donald Trump right now is checking the possibility of a third term. So what exactly did Obasanjo do wrong? He wanted it, and he did not get it. So people keep referring to it. He wanted a third term. Did he get it? Did he force it on anybody? When the National Assembly then refused to grant it unto him, he rested his case. And that's the way to go about it. If the country had allowed and they passed the law allowing him, looking for a third term wasn't a bad idea. I personally, I'm not just thinking now. I wished Obasanjo got a third term. Do you see what Paul Kagame is doing in Rwanda? Because he got a third term. He has transformed that entity. I'm not saying people should come and be doing third term, but it has its own advantage. The advantage is there. Sometimes when you have a good leader, you just want him to continue. It's good for leaders who are leading well to stay longer. So Obasanjo did not kill anybody for seeking for third term. It was his right. He wanted it the normal way, but the people said no. And that's how a true Democrat behaves. The people said no. I'm so proud of that National Assembly there. And so he stood. So Obasanjo is a visionary leader. He has the right to criticize government as long God is keeping him alive because of that. He's an old man. And I thank God for the strength he has, that he's still mentally strong. It's the grace of God. So he will continue to criticize government after government. If you don't want Obasanjo to criticize you, then do what is right. You should take his criticism as a push to do better and not lambast every government that comes want to lambast him. He say he want to be in control. He is tired at his age. He has retired from politics. So which control? What control is he looking for? Obasanjo is not interested in controlling any government. I'm not his spokesman, but I understand him. So I speak. I don't just understand him, I respect him. He was a visionary leader. He taught Nigerians how to lead Nigeria, how to be detribalized, how not to consider nepotism in making appointments. He did. How not to borrow money in 8 good years. Obasanjo did not borrow a dime. How did he manage Nigeria? He did not owe salary. How? And then you say corruption thrived. No. Go and look at the governors who were indicted. How many does APC have the guts to indict its own governors now? Rather, Oshomole will tell you, the moment you join APC, all your sins are forgiven. That was not the kind of government Obasanjo ran. So when these people when they start vilifying Obasanjo, young people listen to people like us and know the truth of how Obasanjo led during his tenure. Thank you.